I feel really strange, like a giant stream here and all people in the back. So. Alright, I got two people in front of the stage. Thank you. ECW chant, alright. It's all like that. Alright, I just want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I'm looking around. It's a beautiful thing seeing everybody here. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. And, you know, we're out here to celebrate Pat. You know. And, you know, this thing just kind of happened. It's, you know, just, we all know what happened. Not going to dwell. Tonight's a fun night, a good time. You know, and it just kind of organically came about to what it is right now. And, you know, I booked the band. Pat really dug this band that you guys are going to see. Then my cousin Jim was like, I want to do a set. And then cousin Mike, I want to do a set. Then I'm like, Pete, want to do a set? So everybody who you're going to see tonight has a connection to Pat one way or the other. So I know most of you guys know Pat, but if you don't, I just want to like tell you a few words about him. You know, again, before I start, another thing, I just really want to, we're here to raise money too for the Long Island Crisis Center. Is Laura still here from the Long Island Crisis Center? Laura? Yes? You here? No? No, I think she had to leave to pick up her kids, but anyway, there's some flyers over there about what the organization does. You know, all the money from the doors going along the Crisis Center. If you want to donate additional money, maybe see my sister Maureen. Maureen, where are you? Maureen, wave. Give that lady with the two hands up. You can give her some additional money. You know, it's a great organization. They really do a great job helping people out who are going through similar situations that we all went through. So I think it's a great thing to celebrate Pat. We're going to donate some money to a great organization. So just a few words about Pat, and I apologize if I'm rambling. I feel like I'm rambling already, so I apologize. But thanks, James. So Pat was a great guy, very unique, funny guy. Pat was Pat. It's hard to say. Everybody know him? Yeah. Pat was Pat? Yeah. He? Stretch. He had a lot of names. Remy, another name. He had many nicknames. He was a great guy, a great kid, funny kid. He loved, Pat valued, he didn't value material things, he valued life experiences. That's what he was into. He didn't care about, he didn't like shiny, new, fancy things. That wasn't his thing. Pat liked gritty, weathered things and places. He liked things with character. You could walk through a neighborhood, you could say, Pat would go to that place, he would not go to that place. Just by looking at it, that was Pat. Pat liked, Pat was very unique. The reason we booked this place here, why we booked a rock club, Pat spent most of his adult life in places like this. Pat loved live music, he loved punk, he loved hardcore, he loved metal. And he used to go to maybe 2-3 shows a week. All over Manhattan, all over Brooklyn, Philly, Long Island. That was Pat's life. He loved it. He loved being parts of shows. He loved seeing shows, live music. He loved it. I tried to give a sample of the music he was into. Honestly, that was the lighter side of what Pat was into. If I played what he really liked, he would the glass would be shattering right now. Half of you would be running out the door. But Pat loved the hardcore metal, punk, aggressive stuff. That was Pat. He loved it. And the music was on constantly. It was always on, no matter what, always on. But also Pat being Pat and being unique and individual, he also loved old school hip hop, which is a strange combination. You'd think hardcore, metal, and punk, but then he also liked old school hip hop. So it was a weird combination, but it worked. And he also went to tons of old school hip hop shows too. You know, so it's really a beautiful thing tonight, and I'm looking at my notes. I have a few notes to just think I want to think about when I think about Pat. thing with his music, another thing with his music, the only material thing he was really into was actually his music. If you go in his room, it looked like a record store. He had, from floor to ceiling, crates and boxes full of albums, CDs and tapes. It looked like a record store. And then when everybody went digital, and I'm like, I was really into my iPod and everything. Like, Pat, you gotta get an iPod, you'll love it. He's like, I don't want an iPod. He's like, I don't need an iPod. So he never got an iPod. It went digital. He loved the tapes and the records and the CDs. He had a Walkman still, and he listened to cassettes. So that just summed him up. He just loved. He didn't care about new shiny things. That he just loved what he loved. Another thing Pat really loved to do was travel. He traveled all over the U.S. and almost exclusively by Greyhound and Amtrak. So again, and I think that old cliche, it's more about the journey, the destination, really embodied Pat's travels. He would see 2, 3, 4 cities in a week. And he'd stop off, he'd be in one city for a night, maybe a night and a half, a night and the following day, then he'd get back on the bus, he'd go to the next city. So he just loved to travel, he loved to see and experience things. Another one of Pat's loves, I'm looking at Mr. Siaka right in the front row with the NWO shirt on. He loved pro wrestling. So, he loved especially the pro wrestling, the indie shows. ECW. He used to go to Philly all the time. He'd see Philly in old bingo hall and see that crazy shit. He'd go to Elks Lodges in Queens. He'd go to VFW halls all over the island. He loved it. And I think he loved a lot of the humor about it too, just the ridiculousness of it, the over-the-top stuff. He loved it. And I think he even, I remember telling me at a couple of indie shows he was even a manager at one point. He walked the aisle. Pat walked the aisle. And, he was a manager. It was hilarious. And he told me, I'm like, how's the weekend? I was like, yeah, I was a manager. It was great. And people throwing shit at me. I was hitting people with chairs. So it was classic. Another thing Pat loved was comedy. So it was fitting, in addition to live music, we have comedy here. He loved to laugh. He loved ridiculous things. He loved the more ridiculous, over the top that he loved. He loved Howard Stern. Yeah. Hours and Howard Stern, Howard TV. But he loved all the peripheral people. He loved, like Elliot Offin and the Whack Pack, all those crazy. Riley Martin, Eric the actor, Sal and Richard, all those crazy guys. That's what he loved. We would talk about it for hours, just Howard Stern. And I was funny, just talking to Pete. He's like, yeah, me and Pat would just sit and listen to Howard. We'd sit on the couch and just listen to Howard for like 2, 3 hours. I don't say a word, we just listen to Howard. It's just funny. Another thing he loved, I said the travel, I'm looking at my notes. Pat's unique style of dress. Pat, probably since he was like 16, 17, he started shopping exclusively at thrift stores. So he wore, everything was from Salvation Army, Island Thrift, any of the thrift stores in the area. That was Pat. He incorporated all of his rock shirts, his crazy shirts that he got from the thrift stores, his wrestling shirts. Right, wine. If anybody wants any of his shirts, they're in the corner there. Please take them. If you want a little piece of Pat, his crazy shirts. I know everybody, sometimes you see him walk in, you're like, where did you find that? He'd a crazy shirt. That was Pat. So he always had a shirt on with a punk band, a hardcore band, or wrestling, or whatever. But then he also incorporated my senior citizen dad's wardrobe into his regular shirt. My dad, we had an older dad. He was good 60, 70 when Pat was in high school or whatever. So he'd incorporate my dad's hats that he wore at church, like the wool caps. He'd wear my dad's pants, my dad's blazers. So it was a very unique look. He made it work. It was Pat. That's who he was. It was awesome. And it's funny just meeting everybody and talking about him reminded me of that. It was just very unique. And he didn't care about what people thought. about him, whatever. He just, what he liked, he liked. It's a beautiful thing. And really, you looked at his own unique style, his own unique presence, his own unique spirit. Like I said, you love comedy, you love Howard Stern. It's great. Just one of my best memories of Pat. Recently, we took a trip together to Denver. My wife Kristen couldn't come to Denver with me. It was a work thing. I work in insurance, so imagine Kristen couldn't come. It was a 5-day all expenses trip to Denver to like insurance convention. So Chris like, I can't make it. She's like, why don't you invite Pat? I'm like, Pat came along. So it was beautiful. It was like to have him come along, and we had a blast. And I got to see how he traveled. The first thing he would do, he would we get into Denver. He grabs like the Denver version of the Village Voice, that type of thing. He looks at all the shows. That's the first thing. What's going on? What the clubs going on? Where the show's going on? He's looking at everything. Then he grabs like the public transit maps. He grabs the bus and the subway map. So the following day, I was busy in the morning. Pat traveled the whole city of Denver in the morning. By the second day, he knew Denver front and back. So I really appreciate that because I got to see him in what he loved to do, to experience the city and explore it. And really, by day 2, he knew the city. And there was a night, most nights we hung out. One night we couldn't. I'm like, Pat, Wednesday night we can't hang out. I got something I got to do, dinner or whatever. He's like, no, I'm good. De La Soul's playing at the Bluebird Theater. I already got a ticket. I took the bus. I got a ticket, so I'm good. I'm like, this fucker's here for a day. He already has tickets to the show. He already knows. And even where the show was, it was on the part of the city, like I think it's like Colfax Avenue. You look it up. That's the old part of Denver, not the new shiny part of Denver. It's the old, unique part of Denver, not the non-generic part. You know what I mean? So, again, he was there for a day. He found his spots in Denver. He got his tickets to the show. He was good. Then it was another night. I'm like, Pat, I got like this company thing. You know, it's free drinks, free food. You know, come with me. So all right. But I'm like, I told him before, I'm like, you gotta like wear a suit. You know, like, so I gotta wear a suit. So he was wearing my dad's like tweed blazer, like an old man blazer that he wore to church on Sunday. It's like a tan, like wicker, like not wicker, but bad looking thing. Thanks, Kristen. And it had the leather patches on the arms. Yeah. Oh, you went to your wedding too? All right, so you still wear that suit. Okay. So it's everybody, you know, it's everybody at this insurance thing, you know, it's like, hey, I meet all these people from all over the country for this company I work for, and me and Pat. And Pat's looking around, he's like, holy shit, I never thought I'd be in this place. I'm like, I never knew you'd be here. But then I hear him, he's like, I go get a drink, I come back, he's like, yeah, I hear he's talking to me. He's like, yeah, my name's Bob, I work in underwriting. He's telling people, yeah, my name's Joe. And, like, he's just making up shit. He was just fucking with people. He loved it. It was beautiful. Beautiful thing. One other good memory from that trip, again, going back to his dress and how he did not care. He didn't care what people thought, whatever. He was himself, unique. They had this like charter trip to the Rocky Mountains. It was awesome. We went up to the top of the Rockies. But, you know, you got one of the charter buses, everyone's there in the morning, you know, like 8 in the morning. And you can look around, like everybody around, you can tell they packed that this is their day to be in the mountains, and they wear the perfect shorts and hiking boots and t-shirt and whatnot. I look at when Pat comes down, he has a black bandana like tied around his head. He has dark shades. He has a hardcore wrestling t-shirt. It's like two bloody faces like kendo death match. He's wearing jeans. He has his black sweatshirt with the pump, like he had these little pins he used to wear on his lapel all the time with the pump rock. And I could see people looking at him. You know, he just stood out so much, and it was beautiful. Like he didn't care. It was awesome. And one of my favorite pictures looking back is him at the top of the Rockies. He's wearing all that. And if you're not a wrestling fan, you don't get it. But he's at the top of the Rockies doing the 4 horse. That's the shirt he's wearing. Look at that. That's it. Yeah. Flip it. Flip the back. Yeah. So a Taipei death match, elimination 2. And so anyways, at the top of the Rockies, you know, I take a picture of him. He's doing the 4 horsemen sign with a big smile on his face. It was fucking classic. So it was classic Pat, and I really cherished that experience. And I'm glad that, no offense, Chris, I'm glad you couldn't make it that time. I didn't want to go either, but it was awesome and really good memories. So anyway, I just want to, again, thank everyone for being out. And on top of all his memories, I think the biggest thing I've had, he was a great friend, great brother, great son. And, you know, he took care of my parents, and we love him. So, anyway, raise your glass, everybody toast. I said it wouldn't ramble, but I know I was rambling. So, anyway, cheers to Pat. All right, we're going to start off. Everybody here, like I said, has a connection to Pat. The first person coming up is Pete Arabello. Pete introduced some spoken word. Pete's known Pat his whole life. Pete hosts every month an open mic at the Velvet Lounge. It's talking. So please, everyone put your hands together. Welcome, Pete.
Hello. I'm glad that everybody came down for this tonight. Very important thing. And I wasn't sure what to do, how to talk about Pat. There's something that happens to me a lot because I was one of the last people that Pat knew to see him alive. And so I think about what would you do? What would you say to somebody if you knew it's the last time you're going to see him? And not in a way to you know, back myself up with guilt or anything like that, because I said everything I could have possibly have said to Pat. I told him how much I loved him, crying, my heart wide open, telling him how much I wanted him to be here, how important his life was to my life. And there's nothing more I really could have said. I needed Pat. And since I was a little boy, I was an only child. And Pat, Sandra also. But Pat was somebody that, you know, we understood each other. We were weird in a very, very similar way. We loved we loved stuffed animal wrestling, for example. For a long time, I long past the point where stuffed animal wrestling was like an acceptable thing to be doing amongst young boys. And so we really understood each other in that way. And so I don't feel any regret. I feel like I said all the things that I wanted to say to him. So in my mind, in my heart, you know, I feel like Pat's a part of that. He's a part of my flesh. He's a part of making me the person that I am today. A big part of it. And he meant the world to me. He lived in my house for a long time. I actually wanted him to move back just because he was so great to live with. He was such a wonderful person. My wife loved him dearly.